Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today I want to give my last little bit of coverage on the Arsenal game. We've done a live stream, we've done a tactical breakdown. Today I want to talk about Rasmus Højlunds, because I thought he was one of the real shining lights in that performance. So today we're going to kind of look through a couple of clips of what he was doing, because whilst he was only on the pitch for about 23 minutes, I thought he was really impressive and would have shown a lot which Erik ten Hag would have liked, and I think the fans enjoyed the performance as well. But before we get into that, I do have a link to a Just Giving page for Macmillan Cancer Support. If you could leave a small donation, it would be greatly appreciated. It's a charity which means a lot to me and my family at the moment. So if you could make a small donation, whether it's 5 pence, £5 or 5 grand, it would be greatly appreciated. So use that top link in the description, please and thank you. It really would mean a lot to me. But in terms of getting into today's video, I should say, let's talk about Rasmus Højlund and what he done well. For me, the big thing which Rasmus Højlund done well the second he came on was he asked a question of the defence. And Gabriel in particular. United at this point were often going quite direct to see out the last stages of the game. Rasmus Højlund up against Gabriel was a brilliant battle. Now, Gabriel is a really good defender. But what he is in particular is a really good strong defender. Not many strikers go up against Gabriel from a physical point of view and give him too much trouble. Rasmus Højlund was doing that. So say earlier in the game, the ball could go up towards this area. Gabriel can kind of physically deal with Martial quite easily, allowing him to bring the ball down and play from there and allowing Arsenal to have possession. The second Rasmus Højlund came on, he asked a question because he was getting nice and rough and physical and up in his face, causing all sorts of problems. And we can see it here. This is pretty much just as soon as he's come on. Harry Maguire sends the ball on, and Rasmus Højlund decides, yeah, okay, I fancy myself for a bit of a physical battle here. I reckon I can get up against Gabriel and cause him some problems. And we see exactly that. The physical battle was brilliant between the two of them. Gabriel actually does pretty well. But just the fact that Rasmus Højlund is even challenging it in the first place means that Gabriel can't deal with it so easily. And like I said, the battle was really good between these two. They're kind of scrapping it out shoulder to shoulder. It's kind of typical football a bit, if you like. Then Manchester United go on the counter-press because Rasmus Højlund has given them a chance, basically, a focal point up front to hit. He's challenged that first ball. It gives United a genuine opportunity to maybe go squeeze nice and high. And Rasmus Højlund himself actually gets back up and joins in with that counter-press, puts Gabriel under pressure. Apologies for the glitch there. He puts Gabriel under pressure, forces Gabriel to go long, and as a result, United are able to overturn possession. But that all comes because of Rasmus Højlund and his physical approach to the game. We've got another clip here. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the throw-in. Rasmus Højlund is marked at the top here. Oh, he's just behind me. 1 second. Let me move myself out of the way for this real quick. So we can see Rasmus Højlund is just behind Gabriel on the top right here. And Wan-Bissaka is going to take the throw-in. It's going to go nice and long and direct. Again, Rasmus Højlund, he gets those elbows out. He gets nice and physical. He's pinning Gabriel back, stopping Gabriel from getting the ball. He's doing a brilliant job of putting himself between player and ball, meaning that 9 times out of 10 you're going to draw a foul. Now on this occasion he actually manages to spin Gabriel, get in behind and kind of race onto the pass. There's then another physical battle and eventually the foul is given. But again, he doesn't give Gabriel the chance to, on that first ball, just go knock it back where it came from, which was happening earlier in the game. Suddenly Rasmus was asking a different question. And then we've got this last clip here, where we can see Rasmus Højlund is going to deal with the long ball up towards him. And this is actually a side of his game which I wouldn't even say is his strength yet. He can get so much better in this area. But again, we can see from a physical point of view, Gabriel couldn't get close to him. And that's a really big compliment because Gabriel is a good physical defender. We can see him here kind of properly scrapping with each other, grappling each other. Rasmus Højlund is asking different questions. And again, he wins the ball on this occasion, gets to knock on to Bruno Fernandes, who goes through on the attack. Now, of course, none of those things lead to anything in particular. They don't lead to goals or anything like that. But in just a few brief clips there, in just 3 clips, you can see what Rasmus Højlund is going to offer. Because what will happen as he improves and develops is teams won't want to be 1 versus 1 against him. Now, as a result, that means as it goes on, teams will instead use 2 centre-backs. Because if he can do that to Gabriel, he can do some pretty ruthless things to other centre-backs in this league. So imagine now United aren't playing Arsenal. Imagine it's just a standard team in Europe. Teams will not want to press man-to-man. Because physically, they will need 2 players on Rasmus Højlund because he's such a good outlet. That means the opposition physically have to be short somewhere else. In this occasion, for example, we saw it in this game, Onana was able to create the overload at the back, but that's because Arsenal didn't want to go aggressive because they were scared of Rasmus Højlund and what he can offer from a one versus one point of view. He also was good in terms of his running of the channels as well, looking to spin into these areas. So not only is he being a proper physical, or almost a old school target man a little bit, getting his chest in, getting himself again between the ball and the opponent, getting his body in the way, trying to hold the ball up. He done that like a traditional target man, but he also ran the channels really well. And I mean, there's an argument, and I would make the argument that he should maybe have a penalty after one of those incidents. Let me just see if I can find a clip here. Here we go. So Manchester United are going to win the ball back in this deep area, and Casemiro is going to play the ball forward. I want you to admire the pace of Rasmus Højlund here, though. You can see the gap and the head start which Gabriel has here. Now, yes, Rasmus is already running. Gabriel's a bit flat-footed. But look at the distance between the two of them. Gabriel has a huge head start. But suddenly, that head start starts to disappear. Rasmus Højlund starts eating up the ground on him. And I mean eating up the ground on him, to the point where he actually gets to this ball in front of him. It's a great ball from Casemiro. Casemiro, clearly trusted the speed and the acceleration of Rasmus to get into this area. Højlund does really well. He stands up Gabriel in this area, then cuts inside, and you know, I'd love to see the part of the ball, if we just go back 1 second. I'd love to see the part of the ball which Gabriel gets here. Nope, I can't see it. In my opinion, Rasmus should have won a penalty, but it comes from his direct running. So again, that's something else he's going to offer. You might look at him as quite a big physical presence and think maybe he's just a target man which you go into. And we've seen in 3 clips already that he is that. But also, it's that athleticism, it's the fact that he can go the other way. That's why he's such a good, unique profile, and ultimately that's why he costs so much money, because he's unique. He's that modern day breed a little bit, which we're starting to see a bit more, but his current age, there's not many like it. But it is in the mould of that Erling Haaland or a Victor Osimhen, where you can go long and use their chest, where Højlund's arguably better than some players in this area. But also, he has the athleticism, the acceleration, the ability to hold the ball up, to get into these channels and cause problems. And again, you know, Gabriel's a good defender and he just could not deal with it. However, I think perhaps the moment which impressed me the most, because we knew all that about Rasmus Højlund, was the fact that he really showed he's a complete package on the counter-attack. Because already we've seen him be a target man, we've seen him spin in behind and go into a channel, but we also saw some flair with his link play. And again, if we go back to it here, let me just find the clip real quick, give me 1 second. Here we go. So Manchester United are defending deep here. I think Bruno Fernandes tracks back, puts the tackle in, Christian Eriksen gets the ball. But basically, eventually, Bruno Fernandes plays the pass forward to Rasmus Højlund. It's not a great pass. Rasmus once again gets his body in the way. We can see the defender here is scared of getting too tight to him because he knows how physical he is. He knows that he can roll him. But Rasmus uses this little bit of space to pull off a beautiful back heel. This back heel is just lovely into the path of Casemiro, who plays the ball forward for Garnacho, who races it on goal, of course, scores, ruled out for offside. But this is Rasmus showing that he's got every side to his game. Now, one thing I would say quite clearly is still very raw, still very naive in certain things that he does and things like that. But we're talking about a profile here. He's a real rarity because he's got the physical strength to be a target man if he can improve his first touch and his control in that way. He's got the acceleration, but also, again, the strength to get in the channels, and from there, he's a decent dribbler. He can cause problems. But also, in glimpses, he shows a technical quality to be a linking striker who's dropping deep and making room for someone like Rashford or Garnacho to run into. Now, again, he's raw in this department, but we're talking about a profile of footballer here. He's doing this to Saliba and Gabriel, two genuinely very, very good centre-backs in the Premier League. Against Arsenal, you know, one of the best defences in the league. He caused problems from the second he came on. Now, you've got to factor in different things. The Arsenal defenders were perhaps tiring a little bit as the game went on, and Rasmus Højlund was fresh. But we can see the profile, and that's the important thing. That's what I was talking about when he was getting signed. It's not about the pure quality just yet. At 20 years old, he's got so much room to develop and improve in his career. But it's the profile he has is unique in the striker market right now. That's why I think it's such a good signing, and that's why I think he could be so good. Add to the fact that he also has good movement in the final third of the pitch as well. And he showed that in this particular game, which is great. So we can see the ball here. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is wide right, and Rasmus Højlund is chilling in the middle of the box. Now, firstly, I like that he's in the middle in the first place. But what we can see is that he's trying to get on the back of the far centre-back, with always the aim being that he wants to run in here eventually. Now, on this occasion, he has to be patient. The ball's kind of popped about a bit. We can still see him kind of in this area, ready to make the run if he needs to. Eventually, the ball goes back to Christian Eriksen. You can see it here. Rasmus Højlund now knows that this is his chance to make the run. We can see the gap he's created. If the ball is good into this area here, he's got the run on Saliba and Gabriel is nowhere to be seen. This is the exact ball he wants. You see the second Christian Eriksen starts to wind up that leg, Rasmus Højlund times his run to perfection really. And if Eriksen could have got a better cross into here, if you're following the black arrow, if he could have got a better cross into this area, Rasmus Højlund was there ahead of Saliba. Would he have scored? We don't know. But it's brilliant movement. And again, it's something which Sancho doesn't offer when he plays up front, Martial doesn't offer when he's up front, and Marcus Rashford certainly doesn't. Now, like I said, unfortunately, this ball kind of isn't very good. It goes wide to Marcus Rashford. And once again, nothing comes of it, which was kind of the story for United. But, again, we're seeing from a tactical point of view, in 25 minutes, we saw a player who can fit several different systems and several different game plans. He could be that target man who holds the ball up brilliantly. He could be that runner into the channel who offers you an out ball and an outlet in that way, getting in behind. We saw his ability to drop deep, and link the play with a really nice little back heel to Casemiro. But also then, when it comes to it, good movement in the final third. That's what I like the most about this performance from him. Again, nothing particularly came from these chances, but even on this occasion here, the cross gets over hit, but he doesn't switch off. The ball goes out to Marcus Rashford. This is all in the same move. Rasmus Højlund switches back on. Rashford decides that he can get to the byline. Rasmus Højlund's going to make a short little movement basically to separate himself from Gabriel, get towards that near post, knowing that once Marcus Rashford is at the byline, physically, the only place he can cross it is with a small cutback. So other strikers, for example, might make the run, if we just highlight Rasmus Højlund here, other strikers might make a movement this way to get towards the far post for a tap-in. Rasmus Højlund knows that the ball physically can't go there, so instead he's going to make the run from here and instead go more into this sort of area, because he knows that's an area where he can actually physically get on the end of the ball. Now, unfortunately, he was up against a good defender. Gabriel does really well. We can see the physical contact once again between the two of them, and it ends in a bit of a mess. Arsenal actually defend the situation really, really well. But again, we see that sniffing around in the final third, and I think these are the reasons why Ten Hag signed Rasmus Højlund, because, again, as a profile, he's got so much potential. It's important not to get overhyped, because like I said, I think he's still so raw at the moment. Technically, we didn't necessarily see it in this game, but his first touch does still need to improve. He can actually use his body even better than what he did in this game. His link play can become more consistent, and it's something he can do on a more regular basis, and also his forward passing. We didn't really see the dribbling side of this game in this match, and also we didn't even see any shots on target from him, which, you know, from a striker, we didn't see everything you would want. But if we're talking about a profile, a player with potential, in 2 or 3 years, give him time to grow technically and mentally in terms of maturity and understanding of the game, you could see a real good player here. I thought he was a real highlight of that game against Arsenal. I think he showed everything to the United fan base which he has to offer, and that's really exciting, so that's why I wanted to talk about it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. What did you make of his introduction? What were the different questions he asked of that Arsenal defence? Let me know what you think, but apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. It does wrap up the coverage of that game against Arsenal. If you could use that Just Giving page, a link in the description down below, it would be greatly appreciated for Macmillan Cancer support. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.